Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you. This
Yeah.
computer moving slow. I had to switch computers.
Oh yeah, I was over here listening to a history lesson about the French Indian War. So I got a little sidetracked and I looked at the time. I said, oh shit.
Yeah, don't worry about it, man. For some reason, my desktop, it's acting like it's not even working. So I'm like, oh shit. I was like, let me switch. So I got this computer right here and it was dead. So I had to plug it back up. I'm like, I don't know what just happened to my desktop. It's almost as if the damn computer don't want to work. So I had this computer.
Oh yeah, I was here listening to a history lesson about the French. I heard that was Indian War. So I got a little sidetracked and I looked at the time and I said, oh shit.
You there? Yeah.
Yeah, I'm here.
Yeah, don't worry about it, man. All right. So I don't know why on my end all of the echoing, like I'm not sure why that does that. I don't think you can hear it though, but from my end, I definitely can hear it. But however, how you been, man?
I'm good, but I hear this delay.
Yeah, I don't know what that is. It was doing it yesterday when I was doing the Nuwabic class. But what I wanted to do was
we can't do this
like you to explain
we
a little bit about like this banking situation that I'm getting all this information about, with the Vatican doing a type of like they're trying to actually get all their citizens in like foreign countries to actually pretty much come back to the Vatican, and everybody's talking about the banks are gonna shut down. What's your take on that, brother? Yeah, I don't know what that is. It was doing it yesterday when I was doing the Nuwabic class. But what I wanted to do was we can't do this like you. We got a little bit about like. All right, so this is what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna try to. I don't know how the echo comes into play with it all. So give me 1 second. Come back to the Vatican, and everybody's talking about the banks are gonna shut down. What's your take on that, brother? Yeah, I don't know what that is. Hold on.
It sounds like you got two windows open at once. Like one of them is playing in the background the show that you broadcasting. You on mute. Can you hear me?
Is that better?
Yeah, that's workable. I can hear you. I can hear you now.
All right, my bad. I think he was right. Like whenever you actually log on to live stream, and I just now start doing a lot of the live streams over the past 2 days. Whenever you log in and you hit go live to YouTube, it actually pulls the YouTube channel up. So I guess what it does is it echoes like when we're talking, it'll wait a couple seconds and delay it, and then it'll start repeating exactly what was just said. But I don't hear it now. So what I was basically presenting to you was I've been getting a lot of information sent to me concerning this banking situation, as they're saying October the 1st, the banks are going to crash on a global level And that's what I pretty much wanted you to address because I know that you are familiar with a lot of those things.
Okay, if you pay attention, the stock markets, right, is experiencing a lot of downturns in the market. Everything is trending down in the stock market. Okay, the Vatican holdings, they saying it's only a couple $1 billion, but it's at least $1 trillion. Um, it's at least $1 trillion hole gonna be in the global economy.
Oh wow!
Right, that's a big hole. It's gonna cause banks to start folding up. I was listening to Charlie Ward the other day. He was saying that his wife couldn't even get money out the bank because the banks are no longer liquid. There's no fluidity in the currency. That means they don't have cash or money to give you on reserve. Their reserves is depleted. So we looking at all of this is cumulative, right? All of that from him calling in the money to like 10, 12 days later, they announced Queen Elizabeth is dead. And all of these things is like, because she been gone, right? Though they just now announced it on I think it was the 9th, right? So the effect is when the Vatican get done calling in all of their assets, none of the global economies is going to be able to stand because the Vatican is who issued letters patent to charter each one of these legal fictions that we call governments.
Right.
They are the holders of the deed or the title to all of those. And that's the money they calling in.
Isn't that the same thing as saying like the Vatican pretty much control world governments?
They do. It's a collaboration, right? The collaboration is 3 city states. It's always been 3 city states. They just moved 2 of the cities, well, really 1 of the cities from the military strength. So now the 3 city states is the Vatican City, London, and DC. Now DC is closed, right? So if you go to the maps, Google Maps, or go to your map on iPhone and put in White House 1600 Pennsylvania Avenue, it's going to tell you that it's permanently closed, right?
Okay.
That all of that's because this shit is over with. We right now trying to get the grassroots aware of what the elites are doing so they not caught so off guard. And then you have idiots that think we crazy because we telling them what to look for and what we seeing.
So with that being said, what is it? First of all, can you explain a little more in depth as far as like the specifics of how we're actually going to be affected by all this?
We can't say that because this has never happened before. There's no frame of reference. There's no frame of reference to say what it's going to look like. You can just only identify the building falling. You can't identify the crash site after the aftermath of the falling building. This is over with right now. We definitely going to have an economic drought for at least 60 days. People are going to be, a lot of the energy companies, like people scared to stop paying their bills because they don't want to interrupt their electric and their gas. It's coming. Your lights going to get turned off. Your gas going to get turned off. Maybe even your water going to get turned off. If you don't know how to survive off the fat of the land, you might not make it through them 60 days. It's going to be a lot of elderly people that's going to be put to rest because they own oxygen machines, ventilators, and all that shit. They don't have electricity. If they at home, you need a backup generator. If you don't got one, you ain't going to make it.
Right, because my mother is on oxygen. Actually, the house that I stay in now, my mother actually left it to me and moved back up north to Maryland with my sister because, pretty much with her health, my sister is a nurse. She can better care for her. But yeah, my mother's on oxygen. So, in other words, you're saying that we really don't know what to expect and how detrimental that this banking catastrophe can actually have an effect on us.
No, there's no frame of reference. It's gonna get bad, but it's only gonna be bad for a limited amount of time
And why is that?
because all of these systems is collapsing. The
Right, but
government, the government is the government that they run in the um pantomime show, as Charlie Ward called it. It's just a stage show. They got like 14 Joe Bidens. I can't even count all of the motherfuckers I didn't see.
bro said you can't even count all these motherfuckers. Okay,
Right.
so should we keep our money in the banks? Should we take
If I was you, I already took mine out. I would convert as much of my money into what they call precious metals as possible.
like we were speaking about the other night, gold and silver,
Right. Because the new economy is going to be predicated upon a substance-backed utility. It's not going to be a fiat.
which is what we're in now. Funny money,
Right.
basically. Funny money.
Yeah. Monopoly money.
Yeah. So let's say, for example, a person that has $250,000 in the bank. What you suggest is that they go get $250,000 worth of gold
Gold and silver. Yeah.
or silver. And is this going to be a means that we'll be able to still trade with the stores or companies that can remain open if there's a such thing as, because it almost seems like everybody's going down, even the companies. So there'll be no bartering and trading. You just have to sort of hold it until everything goes back to normal.
Well, it ain't. Well, they consider normal ain't finna come back. But we're gonna have a new normal. The new normal is gonna be more prosperous than the old normal. But in order to get to that, we're gonna have to go. You can't have a baby without labor,
Right.
right? It's just not gonna happen. This new world that's coming up is not gonna appear until the old world is destroyed. It's just like we already lived yesterday. We can't go back and relive that motherfucker. We done with it. We moving into
Basically.
the future.
Basically.
And the closest thing you can do to reliving yesterday is mirror it in the future. That's it.
Yeah.
It's the
That's
closest
fact.
you can get.
So a lot of people are afraid of all of this that's coming because I think that they're not really cognizant as to the effects. And like you said, there's really no rhyme and reason or no script or nothing that we can actually measure it to. From your personal perspective, what would you suggest people do living wise? Because I mean, people can't live
You froze.
without electricity. People either.
Look, they gonna have to figure it out. You're gonna have to learn how to live off the fat of land because they're not paying people like me any attention. They writing us off as crazy until they caught in the condition in the position that they can't defend themselves. They gonna be at the
Right.
mercy of nature.
You sure know what to say because it's like the more you try to prep them in advance, again they start saying that we crazy is wrong with us. But as soon as they get their ass in the actual problem, then now they look running and looking for us for help.
Yeah, I ain't gonna be able to be reached. Cause while that shit going on, listen, seriously,
I ain't gonna be able to be reached.
look, it's while that shit going on, I'm gonna be taking my hiatus. I'm gonna be gone for 6 months, right? I'm gonna be.
Right.
I already don't like doing social media. I never liked social media ever. The only reason I'm on here is because it gives me the furthest reach to the grassroots, and
Yeah,
they have to be made the information got to be made available to them. They don't got to believe me. All they got to do is just keep ignoring me and just watch. I'm gonna be straight, but if some of them ain't gonna make it, like I told you, they turning off the lights. That's the signal, right? They shutting down the electric grid. The excuse they're gonna use is a solar flare, but it's really gonna be them turning that shit off in real time. They trying to turn it off before the solar flare hit. The one that they looking for ain't hit yet. If they don't turn it off, it's gonna fry all of the systems, and then it's gonna be months before they get infrastructure in the electromagnetic grid back up.
So can you explain the flares for the people that really don't know what that is and how
Okay,
that
so
affects?
right, so the sun have explosions on it. These explosions release massive amounts of electromagnetic energy, UVAs, UVBs into the earth. And when it get here, it has an effect on your melanin. It has an effect on your central nervous system, but it also affects our electrical system of the planet.
That's correct.
So when the system, the way it's set up now, if they don't turn it off when the major flare that they waiting on, they gonna have 6 minutes to shut it off from the time they find out that massive explosion occurred on the sun before them rays hit the earth. They're gonna have about 6 to 9 minutes. Once that happens, they just gonna shut it off. They're not gonna ask nobody for permission. And they have to do it because if they don't, it's gonna overburden the wiring and fry wires everywhere. They're not gonna be able to reboot the system. But they're not gonna know until that explosion happens, because it's been happening in smaller, small explosions. This shit is natural with the sun. What's not gonna be natural is them shutting the electric off. That's gonna be man-made.
Right.
Now, in the process, they was the Bush Clan, the garden plot to eliminate us was to use EMP and fry the system so we can't turn it off and preserve it. It has to be turned off, but they're not going to even be able to tell you in time enough for you to make any contingency when that flare comes. Now, they already turned off the Schumann resonance recorder about a week ago. The reason they did that is because that's telling you that the constant increase in the vibration, the grid is about to flip. When the electromagnetic grid flip, it's going to be time to that explosion on the sun. They know it's going to happen. It happened before. It happened in a similar manner every so often. And they can time it based off the position of the stars.
Right.
Because they all work hand in hand. So where the earth is in relation to the sun, where the sun is in relation to Orion, Sirius, Pleiades, and Arcturus, tells them when it's coming. They can use the star map and time it damn near to the minute. They can't get it to the second, but they can get it to the minute. They know, they just not telling us.
Right. So, in other words, basically people are going to actually be under certain types of conditions based on them not knowing, and basically listening to the brothers and sisters that's out here disseminating this information to put them in the know. And it's going to cause them to be pretty much on some last minute preparation shit. Like, y'all could have had all this time to prepare if y'all would have listened, but now it's too late pretty much.
This is why everybody keeps saying the purge is coming. You imagine when all these people, they gonna raid the grocery stores. That's coming. When they realize that everything is down and they don't know when it's coming back up, they just gonna panic. And in the panic, the first thing they're gonna do is raid the grocery stores.
Right.
When you see the people raiding the grocery stores, you already know right then that the shit, because it's not gonna be on no TV or news. It's not gonna be on the radio. All that shit gonna be turned off.
Right.
And that's what's gonna make people panic, because they're not gonna have any information source to tell them what the fuck is this going on. So they're
That
not
is crazy.
Yeah, so they're not gonna be ready. And we all know proper preparation prevents poor performance, and all of them is improperly prepared to perform properly. Right? So they creating the condition that they're gonna see when this shit happen by their level of understanding of the condition as a whole.
Wow. So that's yeah, that's gonna be big. Time wise, how long do you think that it's gonna be before all of this stuff comes to a full head?
It could be any minute. Truthfully speaking, it's imminent. And imminent means that it can happen at any minute without nobody knowing. But they gave us a couple of signs. The Queen Elizabeth burial or funeral is Monday.
Okay.
Right? Look at the number on the date. Okay, then the Pope gave them to the end of September because the fiscal year ends in October. So they had to the end of September to get everything in before the end of the fiscal year. The fiscal year is when you calculate, or the closing of the fiscal year is when you add up all of your wealth before you do anything with it. It's a corporate practice.
Right.
Right. So the annual year may end in December, but the fiscal year ends in October.
Okay.
Right. So the Pope has to have everything in enough time for it to be counted for the fiscal year. Right. The fiscal year's closing, they've been working per diem in the United States. Right. The country has been artificially floating per diem, I mean by the day, based on the contracts people been under. Now we at critical mass. It's enough people that left their jobs, took their children out of this motherfucking slave trading system they call a school. And now everything is starting to come to a head. Because the Elizabeth's been dead since like 2018. And you know the day that she died because the crest fell off the gates of Buckingham Palace. That wasn't an accident, that was a sign. If you look at Prince Charles, King Charles, whatever the fuck he want to call himself tomorrow, but if you look at him at the funeral, how disheveled he looked, that's the cow toe ritual of the Masonic Lodge.
Okay.
Right? His tie is the cable tie, the cow tie. And then he got his dish shot. Only thing he didn't do is have his pants leg up. That's it.
So what was the point of delaying putting people in the know that Queen Elizabeth had died?
Wait a minute, ask that question again.
What was the point of delaying putting out the information that the Queen Elizabeth had died?
Because it's critical things that follow that. First of all, it's a signal for a power change. Chess. What happened me and you playing chess and I take your queen?
Shit, I'm vulnerable.
Vulnerable, and the odds is you're not gonna win that game.
Right.
It's almost over. Well, the queen in real life is the king on the chessboard. Well, what happened when I take your king on the chessboard?
I still have a chance with my queen because I can move all over the board.
Right, but when I take your king, what's the
Oh, when you take my king, that's checkmate.
checkmate? That's what it means. Checkmate. And the checkmate, now they have to close the game. If you in Vegas and you at the crap table, you hear the owner of the or the manager of the casino say, everybody that's cashing out, report to the cash out center, all games are closed. What would that mean economically for that casino? That mean they finna count up their money.
Right.
Pay who they gonna pay, close up shop. Casinos run 24 hours. So if the casinos is running 24 hours and the guy that's running the casino say cash out, well, you want to hold on to your poker chips or you want to cash them in? Because you once they cashed in, or if you don't cash them in the allotted time, you won't be able to cash them in.
Right.
Right. So this is what we're looking at. The game is over.
So have they already appointed who's going to take her position?
It's not announced, but none of them. It's our time to shine now. This is our world. The new world is ours.
Oh, yeah. So
the white
okay.
man world over with.
You said, say that again?
The white man's world is over with.
So I was speaking with Brother Love about, the alchemy of the letters and the language. I'm the language teacher for everybody, pretty much. And Brother Love is my mentor. So he kind of sort of, try to guide me right as far as like, how to actually, presentation basically. So my question is, what does us learning our language have to do, if it does any, with us actually being in the new world and projecting ourselves in the new world to thrive in that new world?
Okay, so in the new world, everything is frequency. It's vibration and frequency. The linguistics is directly tied to the vibration and frequency of the electromagnetic grid. Nuwapic was designed for a specific reason. Dr. York could tell us why he put it out. If I think it's in the introduction text to the language of why he came out with the Nuwapic, because we finished all of the organic people to the so-called Americas is going to be enrolled in Nuwapic. So you one of the ones who's going to have to be the teacher of teachers in order to raise the vibration. It's about tones and sounds.
Okay. So you say the new world is about frequency. And will Nuwapic be a language in your mind that will replace the law of vibrational frequencies that are being put out there?
Absolutely. We're gonna be going to Nuwapic class for all of the organics. Anybody that want to learn Nuwapic is going to be welcome to learn it, because English is going to be in the future what Latin is now.
Right.
Right. So the only place you find Latin is in legalese and medical leagues.
Or if you're doing some old recitation of some Christian book.
Right. Them old grimoires.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Grimoire and grammar is the same.
I didn't know that.
Same word. It's etymologically the same thing.
Right. I see what you're saying. It's funny you should say that, because I was given certain etymologies in one of my previous classes and found out that create and sex also, crescent and sex also came from the same root word.
Mm-hmm.
So what else should we actually look for in the actual new world, as far as
the educational system? It's 9 areas of people activity, 10, counting health. Economics, education, entertainment, labor law, politics, religion, sex, and war are all going to be retaught. Everything that they taught us under those principles has been to mislead us deliberately with malicious intent.
Right.
We teaching with the intent to give everybody the opportunity to raise their vibration and their frequency so that they can ascend to the 5D frequency. Everybody think the earth gonna change. You're gonna still be on 3D earth. You just gonna be thinking and speaking in 5D. That's gonna be the difference.
Wow. So economically, where will we be?
Economically, we got the organic people of Earth has seized every central bank on the planet. That's what compelled the Pope to call in all of the Vatican holdings, because we seized the Vatican and Buckingham Palace, and we seized the military-industrial complex. That's all our shit now. Now we just got to get in the position to educate the children and let them know what was going on that was turning them against each other. They didn't do that on their own, on purpose.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, the whole system is weaponized against us. The education, entertainment, all of it has been weaponized against us.
So what is your take on us building a school for ourselves?
We already have the blueprint for the new education. We're not doing school.
Okay.
We're doing rites of passage. It's called ROPE, rites of passage education. It's a different format than what they're using now. Neely Fuller described it as the open air training or open air education method.
Who describes it that way again? I didn't hear the name.
Dr. Neely Fuller.
Dr. Neely Fuller. Could you explain to us a little bit about that? Like yeah.
So you know Sun Tzu wrote The Art of War, right?
That is correct.
And you know that the doctrine of white supremacy is only shared in secret places among those who push that doctrine, right?
That I didn't know.
Yeah, it's actually a written military strategy.
Okay.
White supremacy is. It's not what we think it is. It has nothing to do with skin color at all. Anyway, Dr. Fuller wrote a defense manual. So imagine you're a chess player and you don't know how to play the game, but you learn the offense from watching the people pushing the white pieces. And if you watch it long enough, you'll learn how to defend their strategy. Well, he learned to defend against white supremacy.
Okay.
And that defense is called the United Compensatory Code System for breaking the chains of white supremacy. If you remember the ISIS papers by Francis Wellesley.
Yes, I've read it a few times, actually.
You know, in the beginning when she say, if you don't understand white supremacy, everything you think you know is only confusing you.
Right.
He wrote that. She was quoting him.
And so, from what I understand that you're saying is that white supremacy is actually a military doctrine, but for what cause? Like, what
global
is their
conquest.
objective?
Global conquest. It's global conquest and subjugation of the organic people of the planet. Their strategy came from the Anunnaki.
Say that again?
That strategy comes from the Anunnaki.
I was just gonna get you to explain, because I've been in a few different dialogues about that. The difference between, I guess, those that have Anunnaki blood and those that are considered to be organic people.
Well, we all got Anunnaki blood now. but we all got earth blood. But there's some people who will never vibrate on our frequency, and they can't stay here.
So where would they go?
I don't give a fuck where they go. They can get the fuck out of here. They just can't stay
right.
here. We don't care where they go.
So can you explain a little bit more in depth about like how you define organic people?
Say that again. I didn't hear the question.
Explain a little bit more in depth to give us a better understanding of how to basically interpret what is meant by organic people.
Organic people, the Anunnaki call us the Earthborn.
Okay.
And they call themselves the Starborn. They wasn't born. Their souls don't originate from Earth. Ours do. The souls in us is like the radiance of the Earth in human form, and we the antibodies of Earth. So anytime Earth is under attack, is a human by a sentient being. The human is the sentient being that is dispatched to defend Earth from the sentient beings that came from somewhere else.
Right.
We the antibodies. We the T cells.
That basically seeks to kill any inorganic thing or some alien. Well, basically how that works in the body is anything that's alien to the body, those particular cells send like messages to the T cells, and then the T cells pretty much go seek it to kill it.
Yeah. So the T cells is like a sergeant on the battlefield sending the troops to what to remove. It don't necessarily have to kill it, but it has to purge it from the system.
Gotcha.
Notice the word purge.
Purge.
Right. So when they talking about a purge is coming up, they really talking about us getting rid of those, which is inorganic beings. Some of the beings are sentient robots, AI, artificial intelligence. And they look like humans, but they're not human. They are straight sociopathic. They can only do what they programmed to do. And a lot of them been programmed to be serial killers.
So with the Anunnaki basically genetically engineering the Lulu Amilu, what would that be? What would they be considered today? Would they be considered organic with just a little bit of Anunnaki blood, or
let's go over that. So the first ones, Lulu Amilu, that was created by the geneticist known as Enki, was utilizing the spirits of the earth spirit and in physical form, and they came out the little people we call the sign or the Twa.
The Twa, the pygmies. I'm familiar with that.
Okay, now they were created first to mine South Africa, the mines of Manadapa. You remember reading about that in Holy Tablets?
Yeah, I remember Manadapa.
Okay, now that's Enki's land, the Absu. This over here we call the Americas is Tahuti land. And the rest of the earth that's not North and South America is the land of Osset, Isis, or they call her Inanna in Sumerian. Inanna is a title, and many different women in the Sumerian culture held the title at different times.
Right.
Right. So it's a rank title. It means Queen of Heaven and Earth. It's the same thing that Isis means.
Right.
Right. And it's also the same reference for Black Madonna. Right. So Black Madonna is Ma and Donna. Ma is the mother, Donna is the daughter.
Okay.
Yeah. So, um, when the pygmies was created, or altered because they was already here. They just altered genetic by infusing them with a certain portion of the DNA that teaches them to have reverence for divinity.
Right.
But divinity is only higher intelligence because it's all mind, and all mind is what creates the matter.
Absolutely.
So in the beginning was the word, and the word was with God, and the word was God. And the word is thought, and thought is thought. Thoth is the heir to the earth kingdom. The king's seat of the earth kingdom is seat 50 on the galactic council. The queen's seat of heaven on earth is galactic council seat 40, right? So the queen mother is always 13, which is the mother of the king. Now, they needed a male child that had mitochondrial birthright and father's rulership right in order to have a competent heir.
Right.
And the only way he's gonna know who he is through a course of self-discovery, because he has to realize who he is in real life. And then he have to go do work that's gonna prove his validity of who he is.
Okay.
So in the course of all of this, the pygmies was decommissioned by Enki. They was given, go about y'all business, live y'all best life. And then Enlil came. He said, y'all still ain't sending us enough gold. Y'all can't stop sending the gold. Enki said, we met the quota. Enlil said, we still need more. They actually eat monoatomic gold, platinum, iridium, radium, and silver. And that's why they can live thousands of years. Because the energy conversion is zero loss, right? The zero loss means that it's a superconduction taking place. And if you got zero loss of energy, you don't deteriorate. You deteriorate because you lose energy, right? They call it entropy in science.
That's right.
And the entropy causes the aging factor to take place, which is artificially incorporated into the human genome. We didn't take physical form on a day-to-day basis. We came in a physical form periodically to perform functions. When they collapsed the fourth dimension into the third dimension, that's where all of the death was created. Because you stuck into what they call a reincarnation loop. Enki don't want his genetic fuck up to be exposed as an inadequate humanoid, right?
Right.
So between Enki and Ninursin was his son, Ninurtu, who became the chief scientist on Nibiru.
Right.
And his teacher was a scientist named Nergal. So when Ninursin created another species of human, this is why it's two creations in the Bible. When he created a new species, he fucked up, trying to conceal it from the queen of heaven and earth. They used sulfur to replace the carbon, and that fucked up the creation. And they kept having birth defects. If you read if you read in the Sumerian tablets, it tell you that the remedy was 1 drop of Anunnaki blood would cure the genetic defect. Right? So we all of the royal families of the earth had Anunnaki blood. That's what created royalty to begin with, right? But the earth, earthborn, we have a different psychological makeup from the Anunnaki, being from the original earth spirits. That mental makeup tells us, you know, we in this shit. We in this shit together. Whether we want to be or not, they got all of us in the same bucket, and crabs don't supposed to be in the bucket.
No.
So that's why they don't know that crab and the buckets are pulling each other in. They ain't trying to pull each other in. They trying to all get out. But ain't nobody strategizing the exit strategy to get out of the bucket. And along come me, I'm like, fuck it. I'm just going to kick the bucket over. We'll figure out how to get out from there.
I know that's right. So the various different, are you saying there was various different cloning processes?
It was two major processes. The first one was Enki's. His was in harmony with the rules of Earth.
Right.
And the great debauchery was what Enlil did.
Okay, explain that a little bit.
So by replacing the sulfur, the carbon with sulfur, it cuts off the ability to tap into the higher consciousness that allows you to ascend. And they were sentient. And that's where the problem came at, because one of the rules of the universe, the free will universe, is the only people that shouldn't have the right to ascend is those who choose not to.
Right, but it's their choice.
Right. You got some people that want to be servants no matter what. They don't want to be the leader. They don't want to be the one in the big mansion that own it. They just want to come in and clean that motherfucker up and go back to their little hut. Right? Because they feel like they serving a greater purpose. Now remember, we got something called the Great Arcana, which means the great work.
Right.
And the great work is codified in something called the Magnum Opus, which is the great book. And the Magnum Opus is broke up into parts and scattered around the world. These are called together collectively the Scrolls of Destiny. Now remember, Baba said that the Scrolls of Destiny was seized by somebody called Humbaba.
Right, Zuin.
Yep. Zuin is Alexander, the son of
Alexander the Great.
Yeah, so they say he's great with his sissy ass, but Alexander the Great is Enlil's son. He's Enlil's son.
Who? Alexander?
Yeah.
It's funny you should say that, because like I've done a lot of research on like the Anunnaki, you know, based on the stuff that, you know, Pops left for us to study, and, you know, what he taught us. And because that's my name, Nanorta. Like my first name is Messiah, but it's Messiah Nanorta Naya Al Mahdi. And I used to read a lot about Nanorta and Lil's seed, the difference between, you know, Enlil's side and Inky's side, and the war, and the, you know, the Nibirian rules of succession. And that is a very complicated situation that they were in. Like that was very complicated, but that caused so much strife that even now to this day, we're still feeling that, I think.
Yeah, well, you got to look at the story they give us in the religions about the war in heaven. Right? In the war in heaven, they said they cast Satan to hell, right?
That's right.
And then how the fuck he end up on earth?
Well, I think that goes back to defining what hell is when you start to look at the various different terminologies in the protocols and the Wabo that Pops left for us. You have Gehenna, you have Hades, and you have Or, like Or of Chaldea or Chaldea. So it's various different perspectives, but I think that in religion it tries to make us think that this is somewhere where you're going to burn physically if you don't follow the rules, when the definitions and etymologies of the word Gehenna Hades and Or has absolutely nothing to do with that.
Right. And well, let's see if we can't find hell real quick. And the
Okay.
Satan means Lord Set.
Okay.
It's Set, E-N mean Lord in Sumerian. Now they said that they cast him to hell. Okay, so Greek culture, what is it called?
Wouldn't that be Gehenna or Hades?
Greek culture is called Hellenistic.
Oh yeah.
Open up.
I'm thinking about the language of the Bible, but yeah, go ahead.
Excuse me 1 second.
What's going on? Sorry, 1 second. How you?
Good, I'm good.
I guess I'll show you another time.
Oh.
Or I'm gonna send them to you.
Okay.
Julian has sent me some videos from last night game at his homecoming game.
Oh yeah, send me some. Send me some.
Send to you.
All right.
He did the same thing.
Okay, so if Greece was a Hellenistic culture, and hell is short for Helen.
Right.
And Alexander is Enlil's son. Are we making some dots connect right here?
We sure are.
So as long as we under the rule of Alexander, we are in hell because he hijacked the original Greek culture as a Roman infiltrator. The Romans were Etruscans. The Etruscans was nomads. They had no home on earth. Them was Enlil children. We know them in the Arabic language or in Syriac as Arabi, the wanderers.
Uh-huh.
And that's because they had no homeland. Now Elijah Muhammad he say that Yaqub's grafted death was not native to anywhere on the planet. Everywhere they go, they call Mr. He's talking about Enlil and his children. Jacob is Enlil, the supplanter, the underminer, the one who's trying to replace others. He's looking for a homeland. That's why when they sacked us over here, they also had to sack Africa and they had to sack Europe and Asia. So they controlled all the wars from both sides in order to get to the place where they was in control.
Right.
And this control system is based off economics. It's funneled to Switzerland, the only neutral country on the planet. The last war that Switzerland had was with the French. And this was when they infiltrated and settled in Switzerland. They came from France to Switzerland and they don't want to be seen. That's why they say they're from the Amun priesthood or the concealed priesthood. And their problem is with those who come from the Aten priesthood, the ones who is known, the visible God, the one that stands out front and don't give a fuck, Al-Imam, right? So they changed the meaning of shit and they changed the names. Now, Enlil names his kids after Enki kids on earth because that's who he's trying to replace. So when you go back in the Bible, when you look at the lineage of Cain and the lineage of Seth, they all start having the same names for some reason.
Right.
It's because that's a strategy. It's a military strategy to confuse who's the righteous and who not. And these are the scrolls that tells the story that became religious books. And if they can keep you in a stupor using the religious text, they can tell you the story without ever telling you the truth. You got to figure it out.
You're right about that, because they damn sure ain't giving up no factual information. It's just basically the way that the information is outlined. It just keeps people in a state of fundamental misconceptions of reality. Like,
so
just don't know.
they reverse engineered a mental virus, and the mental virus in Dianetics is called an engram.
Right, the engram. I studied Dianetics, and then
Right.
they take you through all of these strategic processes to make you a clear, which means that, according to Dianetics, that they actually say that within inside of the subconscious mind, you have is pretty much your memorization of good and bad. But people in certain environments and certain circumstances takes place with them, and those things become re-stimulators and activate you to behave. They call it behavioral aberrations.
Right. And then you know about contagion and aberration.
Right. Yeah, I studied that. I studied that for a couple of years, but yeah.
Yeah. So the mental dynamic at place here, right?
Okay.
If I teach you something, if I take the truth and pervert it and then teach it to you as an absolute, the truth part of it gonna make it stick. The aberration is what's gonna come out as a mental disorder or defect. But when you get enough people that follows the aberration becomes an established norm that's not normal.
That is correct. And it's funny that you should say that, because after studying Dianetics, that's what led me to actually start teaching what's called the three primary axioms. He says the number one dynamic principle of existence is survive. The number two dynamic principle of existence is the purpose of the mind is to acquire and apply knowledge related to survival. So how can you realistically solve a problem to continue your survival if all you have is misinformation? Your reasoning becomes superficial, and the way that the master teacher, the way that Pops actually explained it to us, that's the spell.
Yep, Kingu.
Kingu, Amam, Kingu, Leviathan. It's all, that's all the spell. And then the third axiom was a species remain alive and continue its survival so long as the species remain united. And meaning that basically survival is a collective duty and responsibility of each individual species. And we see it in animal kingdom. And I said even on many of my videos that you never see a lion hunt for food for a jackal. You never see a jackal hunt for food for a zebra. They actually innately know, and we call it instinct of subjectivity because animals have that level of reasoning. Instinct of subjectivity just means that they are subjected or controlled by their instincts to whatever degree that nature brought them into existence to pretty much survive. But for other moments, pretty much that we need each other to survive. It's not really like we can actually do it on our own, because species compete for survival. The Chinese people, the African people, if you want to call them African, the Spanish or Hispanic people, we are all competing for the same resources. And it's the resources on the planet that we were supposed to be able to utilize within our prospective geographical locations to basically be able to aid and assist and continue our survival.
Absolutely. It also goes to your diet from geography too. See, modern America got diet from all over the world incorporated into the great melting pot.
Right.
So some people believe everybody's supposed to be vegan. Everybody not supposed to be vegan. They're gonna die. He's gonna die because his body won't be able to live off the vegetation alone from years of adaptation to eating certain foodstuffs that's not vegetables. Right? Some people don't have fish in their diet. Their brain don't work right. They don't get enough of the omegas 3, 6, and 9 to facilitate the brain function.
Right. And it's funny you should say that also, because I did another video on my old YouTube channel about that. Like, you can't say that all people should have the same diet all across the board, because we are native to geographical locations with different climates that produces different things that are more naturally geared toward the body of the people that's native of that particular geographical location. So if that geographical location, its climate didn't permit for vegan foods to actually be grown, then that's not the native food of the people from that particular geographical location.
Yeah, like you got deserts that butt up against an ocean or a river or a massive lake, right? There's there's no vegetation growing in the desert. They living off whatever that lake, river, or ocean is producing.
Absolutely correct.
Right? So they eating fish, they eating crustaceans. Now those who come up in a vegetative rich environment is more likely to have developed to live off vegetation alone. Those are natural vegans.
Right.
But most people don't know how to listen to their body to help them figure out the proper diet for who they are.
I agree. I
Right?
definitely agree.
Like, and then there's certain stuff like beef was never meant to be a food stock, but bison was.
And why is that?
Saturated versus unsaturated fat. The
Right.
beef is saturated fat, which clogs the brain, and the brain, the oils of the saturated fat turn into the appearance of lard in the brain, and the body try to fight it off, and it creates a buildup of what they call plaque in the brain, which produces Alzheimer and dementia.
It's funny you should say that, because I had about a good 45, maybe an hour long conversation with Brother Love today. This is going back to the language. I was doing some research on the alchemy of language, and I found that there's a certain part of the brain that when we learn certain tones in the language of Nuwabic, that it actually stops things like Alzheimer's disease when you speak it, but it says that you have to speak the language fluently, constantly. Like know the language fluently, but speak it constantly. But by the time you reach old age, I have to look up the word because I forgot the word. I actually do a PowerPoint on it for brothers and sisters, but it also said it increased memory and stuff like that. But going back to the Alzheimer's, that blew my mind because I was like, wow, just simply learning the language itself affects the brain in such a way that it counteracts such thing like Alzheimer's.
Yeah, you familiar with the Journey Home group? It's a spinoff from Nuwapians.
No, Journey Home. No, I don't remember that.
Okay, it's I forget the brother name, but he was a direct student under Baba for many years. He's from Nigeria originally, and he got one of the scrolls he got or text that he put out was about teaching the mind how to facilitate information. I got a couple books from him, and I lost contact with him, but I got a couple books from him, and they was pretty, like, you couldn't tell Pops didn't write it.
He must be nice then.
Oh yeah, he nice with it, but he's one of the they used to be called the Upper Triad. It was three brothers.
Oh yeah, the Tamaray.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
he was one of them. Right. But anyway, in there, he's talking about what you're talking about the brain and the frequencies and the tones affecting the brain. And he did a hell of a job. And I had called him when I came home. You know, I was reaching out to everybody back in 2008, and everybody shut the door in my face.
For real?
Yeah, they told me I ain't had no alphabet, so I don't know what I'm talking about.
Wow.
I went to everybody. I went to I reached out to Fuqua Bay from the Moore Science Temple in Detroit. I reached out to some Nuwabian brothers that was supposed to be top ranked. The one who gave me a warm reception is in Detroit, Brother Rashid, who was running the community down there on Grand River. When I first got locked up, I used to talk to him on the phone. I finally got a chance to meet him. And me and him had a couple nice conversations, and he gave me some stuff I had to have, and the items are in some of the old videos I did.
Right.
But he was the one who, from the Nuwabian perspective, was like, let's see what you got. And I had reached out to the nation, and I couldn't get no headway. Did nobody want to let me speak to none of the ministers? They was acting like they was like some high-ranked motherfucking government official. So
that's
I
crazy.
reached out to some churches, and they all like, you ain't no pastor. And So I had got to the place where I was like, fuck all you niggas. You know, I went on about my business and lived my life. It was a brother when I was leaving, a Atlantic brother. He said, don't try to do nothing when you get out here for these niggas. They aren't grateful. He said, go out there and live your life. That's the best thing you can do for the ones you leaving here. Because I was going through an internal conflict looking at all these soldiers in penitentiary. And so he was the one who told me, he said, just live your life, man. All you can do is live your life. He said they don't respect knowledge. They don't respect nobody coming to uplift the community. Until they're ready for that, just live your life. So when I was working at GM, sister out of Detroit, she kept saying, you need to go do something to help your brothers. You know a whole lot of shit. I was like, fuck them niggas. They don't want me. They don't want nothing to do with me. They said I ain't smart enough and I don't know enough. What made me finally come back to try to aid and assist again is I came home from work and my parents, who was Christians, was watching Farrakhan. Farrakhan was in the middle of a lecture on Khalid Muhammad. And he was trying to tell the people, you think I don't need a brilliant mind like a Khalid Muhammad? He said, but it's rules. You can't come in here and tell me how to do my job. He said, yeah, I need some help. So I wrote him a letter.
Oh, shit.
And when I wrote him the letter, a whole chain of events unfolded on that letter, back to back. Boom, 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 boom. And before I know it, I'm on social media doing this because this is how they wanted me to do it. Use social media to reach the grassroots. We good at the top. The leadership united. We just need the people to know that the leadership, all of the chiefs across the land, it's over 500 different clans represented in Raven Rock right now.
Yeah.
And when the final exposure comes, we gonna see how we gonna restructure. Now remember, that's just for us over here in what we call the continental United States and Canada.
Right.
Right. Now, most people don't know that Canada and the United States has the same QSIP number in the international exchange, meaning that it was always recognized as one land. The settlers was never supposed to cross the Appalachian Mountains. Right?
Right.
But he did. And that was on the heels of the Louisiana Purchase, where the French got their ass handed to them in Haiti.
So let me ask you this. All right, so you saying that the top is good. So I see you out here doing your thing. I pretty much do my thing with like the language because that's just always been me. That's always been me. Like since I was young, I've always just took an interest in basically, pretty much conveying the information on the language. At what point do you think we'll all be able to have it together, or what point do you think that we should reach first before we can even look forward to actually saying, hey, we got it together, and the top and the bottom halves unite and meet and move forward?
So everybody watching DC right now, right? Majority of people watching DC, we trying to shift their focus to Colorado.
Why is that?
That's where the message is gonna come from, the leadership. The Crystal City is gonna land on Emerald Lake in Colorado. That's where it's parking at to set up shop.
All right.
The Crystal City was a what you call a jumper craft from Earth to Nibiru to deliver the gold. And the last time they was delivering gold, that's when Enki declared war on Earth against Enki. Enlil declared war on Earth against Enki. And when he did that, he caught Anu on a stateside visit. That was his only visit to the Earth where he walked around on the Earth. A lot of people be like, why don't you talk more about Anu? Because Anu is not the problem. Anu not the problem. Nowhere he go. He the out of all of the so-called gods, he the most loved, most respected, and he a badass.
That's right.
Right. So we don't have to worry about what Anu doing. Anu doing Anu shit. He's running the Galactic Council as the king of the gods. So what we need to be worried about is what the fuck Enlil doing. So that's what I'm doing, telling y'all what Enlil doing. Because he's the one who got us in this divide and conquer scenario that's keeping us fighting each other. And he's the one that sows the seeds of dissension as a tool of conquest. See, everybody take this shit personal. It's not personal with Enlil. It's not personal with Inky. They just got different philosophies they got different mothers. Inky was raised to treat everybody the way you want to be treated, golden rule shit.
Right.
Enlil was raised as an entitled brat. Your daddy, the king of the gods, you can have whatever you want. Go get it. The other kids tell you can't play with the toys, take that motherfucker. If they don't like it, we're going to send 10 motherfuckers to go whoop their ass. Right? This is how he was raised. He was raised to be selfish, self-centered, jealous, and egotistical. And this is why the God in the Bible is selfish, self-centered, and egotistical.
Absolutely correct.
Because he's Yahweh. Right?
Right.
Zeus. So this is why the earth is, in all of the cities, is squared off now. If you go and research Atlantis, you realize all of our city was concentric circles. And the soldiers was at the furthest reach. But now they got us in squared off cities, straight lines, hard left and hard right turns.
So my question is this: okay, how do we relate to the concept of military as far as ourselves? Because I noticed that a lot of times, and I'm not saying I'm for or against. I just want to hear your perspective on it. Like, we are some of the only people that really don't feel that we need military forces to guard ourselves as we actually try to propel ourselves forward, to be able to, get ourselves in a position to whereas our self-determination and, freedom of expression of our culture is solidified. But everywhere around the world, all of these people have military forces. How do you feel about that? Like,
well, it go back to Shaka Zulu, right? Remember, Shaka was telling them that the people that was coming don't fight war the way we do. And they used to do what we call mock warfare. Mock warfare was just dragon dancing, right? It was telepathic control of the general of his troops to keep them in line in order to not let the other person seize the prize of the victory. These motherfuckers came down here and was like, fuck that shit, kill them niggas. Let them come back and fight again in their next life, and that's going to keep giving us a perpetual advantage every time we kill them.
Right.
Right? So most people don't know that Shaka Zulu came back in Chicago was a guy named Jeff Ford. We call him Chief Malik Angel Bay.
Yeah, I heard of Jeff Ford.
That's Shaka Zulu reincarnated. So he came to try to set this shit right, but Enlil kids knew who he was when he was too young to know who he was himself. When he started coming into self-discovery, they take him out the picture. The statesman was Larry Hoover. That's Solomon in the biblical story. The perfected statesman. The one who know how to speak to people in the kind of manner that make them want to listen to what he's saying and do something about it. So they took him off the streets.
Yeah, right? I did studying on Larry Hoover. Larry Hoover's a bad man.
Mm-hmm.
He definitely, he was a brilliant individual. I didn't even realize that that they had that man locked up for that long. As far as like he got locked up at young, he was in his 20s.
I think when he first got arrested, he was like 21.
Yeah, 21. That's absolutely correct.
And from there, they don't want him on the street. They knew who he was from his birth date, and they do is they use your birth date to see who you are. They already know the day you're gonna be born and where you're gonna be born at. All they gotta do is cross-reference where they find you at with where you was born at, and then they'll use that to calculate the stars as to who you are.
So pretty much going back to Shaka Zulu pretty much taught his people how to actually fight war from a different perspective with no modern weapons. As you know, the Boers had guns, they had, you know, spears. And I want to say that Shaka Zulu created the Asaga spearhead or whatever to, you know, have his people more proficient in warfare. And I'm asking all this is because how do we guard ourselves if we, you know, from the people with these militaries that come against us, if we don't think in those terms, or we don't, let's just say, for example, I'm hearing that we don't really need that as a people. There are things that we can do outside of that, which I don't know how you can dodge a bullet, but maybe we can get, you know, raise our vibration to that level. But how do we relate to that, like, and guard ourselves and protect ourselves from, you know, military type people if we don't have a military?
Look, we got a military. They just haven't been mobilized.
Gotcha.
Right? Look, it's just, the FOI is a military.
Damn right they are. And break your ass up too.
Quickly.
Yeah, break your ass up.
Quickly. All they got to do is go look at that nigga that shot Khalid Muhammad. He had a gun, they didn't. See how quick they disarmed that nigga.
Yeah, they bad.
He was broke the fuck up. He wasn't just, they broke his ass down literally.
You absolutely correct too, bro. I was just thinking about some incidents back in the day in New York. Man, listen, yeah, they would beat your ass, bro.
You think they bad? You think they out cold? What about them Swords of Islam that used to be with the Ansarullah? Them niggas.
Yeah, I grew up around them. I grew up with them. Like, I grew up in the Ansarullah community in Bushwick.
So you know, if you came in there with some bullshit, they would have broke your ass up so quick.
Man, listen, they were some bad motherfuckers to lock down a whole 10 streets almost. Hey. Yeah, they was bad. So I see what you're saying. So the awareness of the people, do you feel that, you know, we as a whole, the various different student teachers of the master teacher that's out here doing the various different parts, do you think that the awareness is raising in the people? And if so, at what rate do you think, you know, that's happening?
I think we passed critical mass. Now it's just trigger events is what we're looking for, because the trigger event is what's going to reveal the next layer.
Okay.
So that's why I say, watch what happened Monday when the Queen had her funeral, and watch what happened after the Pope get done sucking the money out of the economies of the world. Those are trigger events, right? Now, it's got to be a side effect to all of this shit. And
I got the chat pulled up. I'm don't forget to hit that like button and subscribe to the channel. We definitely gonna have more to Brother Rod Hayes. I want to see if anybody got any questions for you, because our time is almost up here.
Mm-hmm.
And to show the Brother Rod Hayes some love, I dropped this Cash App inside of the chat. So anybody got any questions before the brother get ready to go? I'm just looking at the chat. But yeah, I'm thinking like, man, it's a lot, man. I honestly think that we progressed a whole lot more than we were. I'm saying as far as like the brothers from our the brothers disseminating information from our community. That's my perspective, that we've actually reached a lot of people. We reached a lot of people. Now I'm not saying everybody's adhering to it, but I'm just saying that I think that the awareness is up. I just think that with the brothers, as my elder brother Love, and shout out to brother Love, I think that getting in tune with the matriarchal society mentality, I think that that's very important right now. And my elder and mentor brother Love, he keeps me on it. Like, no, brother, you need to do this, don't do that. This is the presentation. We're not promoting this, and I think that that's a very good thing, man. That we kind of sort of get the brothers to understand that it is the new cycle, the sun cycle, the cycle of air, and that the matriarchal society is exactly where we need to be. And I wanted you to expound on that a little bit, because I've heard a lot with you and the brother Young Elder. Also, shout out to the brother Young Elder. I'm always
That's my guy.
as well. Huh?
That's my guy right there. I can't wait to get to see him in person.
Yeah, he gave me my first live, man. Like I was listening to him. My mentor, brother Love, pretty much got me in contact with him, as well as you. And that's who actually put me on my first live.
Yeah, brother Love, the one told me that you was the one to teach the new Wabi class. As soon as he said it, I was like, well, Pop's gonna be using the shit out that brother, so he better get ready.
So Empress 205 says is December 13th the end of banknotes.
Banknotes might come sooner on the heels of the papal recension of all of the wealth of the church. Most people don't know that all of the money is being funneled back to the Catholic Church anyway. So when he called in all of the asset, he's cashing out. Now, it's a couple things that we need to be aware of. The national debt is going to become a debit. Who they owe that money to?
Good question. Who do they owe the money to?
Us, the organic people from the land. And as soon as we take power, it immediately flipped from a negative balance to a positive balance.
Right.
Because that's why the Pope has to call his money home, because he got to pay that with interest. Interest is not attached to that debt. So they got us chasing reparations. That's like trying to give you a cookie so you don't go in there and eat the whole dinner.
Yo, these people got a lot of shit with them. You got V Money that says, what do you feel is going to happen regarding January 1st in Illinois? And it's a two-part question. Also, what do you feel we have in store for 2023?
I don't make future predictions. I try to stay away from that because I can only read the events as they occur in real time.
Gotcha. You have another one, and I think you explained this during the live. Non-ether being 666 asks, what do you think on the purge that's coming?
Yeah, we already talked about that. So you can go back and watch the beginning of the video. But the purge is not going to be what you think it is. The purge is going to be us, the righteous, getting rid of the motherfuckers that don't belong here. We know who they all are. It's not a secret no more.
Yeah,
that's the real purge. To purge the earth of the nefarious forces that came against the children of the earth and you tried to usurp the throne of the Queen of Heaven and Earth. You can't do that shit.
Yeah, you basically interrupting galactical law when you start doing certain shit.
Right. See, Enlil opened a portal to the mirror dimension. When he opened the portal to the mirror dimension, he invited this dragon bitch that was living under the Vatican, who was executed in 2018. The Queen of Heaven and Earth chopped her head off with what's called a soul splitter sword.
All right.
The soul splitter dissipates the energy so it can never be recombined in the same sentient intelligence and sent back to source.
Okay.
So that's only for the worst of the worst. Other people have to go somewhere else. Some of them got to be killed on Nibiru because they got to be reborn on Nibiru. Then some of the other ones got different planets that they have to be destroyed on because they native to that planet. So the Earth vessel they used while they was here may not be compatible with the vessel that they're gonna need on their home planet, but they got to get the fuck out of here. And I don't care where they send them.
Like you being aggressive towards them niggas.
Well, they not being very cordial to us.
You're right though. You're right.
They raping our babies.
Yeah, no, that type of shit. I can't do like that.
Draining them of their blood after they shooting them with cattle prods for a half hour till they pass out. Then they split their jugular and let them drain into a bucket.
That's crazy, man. Any more questions? Because we're getting ready to get out of here. Again, don't forget to hit the like button and subscribe. I'm Messiah, the Nortanaya Al Mahdi. This is the brother Rod Hayes. I definitely enjoyed you, man. I'm trying to get more brothers and sisters into the Nuwapic class, man. Any suggestions?
Look, yeah, don't even worry about it. They gonna knock your door down when the time come to learn. Soon as
they gonna knock your door down.
Serious, they gonna be knocking your door. You're only gonna have time to teach the teachers. You're not gonna have time to teach the general classes.
It's funny that you say that because that's what's happening right now. Like I'm in my office and I'm packing up because I'm getting my mother's stuff ready to be moved to Maryland. But like I have a few students that learn exceptionally well and fast, and I'm getting them to a point to whereas they can actually be ready to go ahead and teach because I'm just one person and it's like a lot of this stuff I'm doing. Plus I told you I'm about to I've already started to actually translate the Holy Tablets in all Nuwapic. The brother Love again, my mentor, he had another one of the elder brothers reach out to me and give me the Nuwapic fonts. I did message you today. I'm trying to get the Nubic one, but for other moments I have all of the other ones. So I want to concentrate on sitting down and actually completing the Holy Tablets because I like to work fast and accurate. So I want it done within 3-4 months. I want to just have the whole book all the way done and ready to go.
Yeah, that's an ambitious project too, and it's needed. It's needed. Now remember, whatever the Holy Tablets is, Baba got to revise them when he get out because he got to add a couple of chapters to them that he didn't put in there on purpose.
That's right. That's right.
Only a couple of perceptive individuals know there's chapters missing from the Holy Tablets.
Well, he said that though, that he wasn't gonna. He said that he didn't complete the book. I know he told certain mu'minun that, but he said he knew that the time would come when the necessary information that he wanted to put in there would be necessary. And at the time because remember, there's two versions. There was the first version of the Holy Tablets, and then he revised it, and then there was supposed to be another revision.
Right, and the final revision he haven't done yet.
Right,
he have
all
the
he got to do is, say that again.
He have the manuscript of the parts that he left out.
Right,
but he just haven't put it all together yet because of his particular situation dealing with the system.
Right.
Well,
guess what though? I don't give a damn. When he put it out, I'll translate that one too. I don't care.
He might not even put it out in the English version.
That's all the more better. My whole thing is like smash English. Like to me, the spell travels through English. Like when I tell you we on Nuwapic hard, it's hard like all day, every day. Like this is what we do. I make myself available. I do this shit full time. I make myself available so that I can be able to have time for the brothers and sisters that want to learn. because people have various different schedules. You might can't make it through the week, but guess what? I run classes Saturday and Sunday. You might can't make it Saturday and Sunday. Guess what? I run classes Monday through Friday. You might can't make it at 6 to 8. Guess what? I'm free at 2 o'clock. I wake up early in the morning at 4:30, 5 o'clock, and I come in this office after I brush my teeth and wash my face, and I automatically start putting out PowerPoints. By the end of the year, I'll have probably like 1,000 PowerPoints just strictly on the language in general. And then what I'm doing is trying to get the brothers and sisters on the letters. I was going to do a PowerPoint today about that, but man, I ate and I laid down and it slipped me. And it was, when I got back up, it was time to do the live. But I'm also going to put out the PowerPoints on each letter. I'm going to take each letter and put it on a slide and break the letter down. And Brother Love and I was speaking today about, like, you know, the abjads of the language, the science of the numbers of the language, and, you know, how each letter has a significant number that actually means something in numerology. So I'm gonna put a PowerPoint out on that, but I work all day. When I say all day, I work all day.
Well, you know, in language, all of the numbers have a color. All the letters have a number and a color
And a planet.
Yep. And now that's mm-hmm. how you manifest the energy through the word.
Mm-hmm.
Right. So it's very important that people know that no matter what language it is, Sanskrit, Japanese, Chinese, Arabic, Hebrew, English, Spanish, French, whatever language it is, all of the alphabets are numerically charged and color charged and planetarily, as you say, charged. This is the harness of energy for the letter to have vibration. So when it's spoken, it can alter or enhance brain frequency.
Absolutely. It alters the molecular density. The whole goal of Nuwabic is to make us our molecular density less dense and more transparent.
Yep.
This way, we're able to develop what Pops was teaching us, psychic self-defense. And like what I was telling them, like 2 days ago, I was speaking with a few of the brothers and sisters that's in the class. Nuwapic by itself has Nuwabu in it. It's just, you have to learn the language and to identify with the definitions of the words from our perspective in order for you to be able to catch on to that. But right knowledge, right wisdom, right understanding, sound right reason, and the sound right action is found right in Nuwabic. You don't really have to go read 100,000 books to get it. All you have to do is just master the Nuwabic language, the proper tonation, and the vibration that is going to actually allow us to enhance our biorhythms, right? Our biological rhythms, as well as our brain waves. Our brain waves actually be linked by the frequencies, but our body will start to vibrate on a certain frequency, our biorhythm, so that it links us to the planet and puts us in harmony with everything around us. So I'm really trying to get brothers and sisters to know that, you know, that's the move right now. That's where we, from my perspective, where we should be in the Nuwabic. And so I give the classes on my YouTube channel now through Zoom. I do group meetings, I do private classes, and whatever way you want it. But come one, come all, brothers and sisters, we need to get this Nuwapic down pat.
Yep, that's important. It's always been important, but I was so busy trying to decode the problem, I didn't have the study time available to be totally immersed in the language, but I have studied the language, right? So remember, Baba created a learning method that's used in mainstream teaching now on how to assimilate a foreign language as fast as possible. And it's called immersion, the immersion method. That means that when you come over here, we ain't even speaking English. We speak in the foreign language, we writing in the foreign language. You eventually gonna pick it up and master it faster when you don't have the crutch of the original language to slow you down.
And it's funny you should say that, because I reached out to another brother, another elder, that he was teaching the language. He actually has an academy. And he said that's the method that he used to teach his children. sort of like the tab, right? So in the tab, you know, we Pops imported the teachers over to teach us Arabic, Arabic Fusha, and that's how we learned as children in the tab. But it's for me, I think that that is necessary, but it's kind of hard when you don't have the environment and all you have is a platform like YouTube or Facebook or Instagram. You know, people are still further away. Like if I come on a platform and all I did was just spoke Nuwapi, people would look crazy. But if you lived in the house with me, I can have, you know, all of the nouns with the words on it, and like the table that have tarabus on it, and then the sinka have balut on it, and you know, so on and so forth. So it's kind of harder when you're doing it over social media as opposed to an environment that's all that's there. So you're going to perform repairs. If your food and your drink or whatever, you know, livelihood is tied to it, oh, I promise you'll get it quick.
Real quick. But look, all you doing is building up a catalog of training that can be used wherever somebody at.
I agree.
So right now, all of your classes, you might not be reaching everybody you want to reach, but you're reaching everybody you need to reach.
Right. I agree.
You know, so the process from here, when we go to rites of passage and we dispense with the old educational system or miseducation system, as it's properly called, one of the things is the language is part of the curriculum.
Right.
So let's say like the Nation of Islam, they still gonna be the Nation of Islam, but they're gonna be teaching Nuwapic and as well as Arabic.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So now they're gonna be able to speak English, Nuwapic, and Arabic. The more languages you learn, the less restricted you are, and the faster it is to learn another language.
Absolutely. People don't realize this also. It takes different compartments of the brain to learn different languages. For example, the part of the brain that I use to speak Arabic is not the same part of the brain that a person that speaks English uses. And the part of the brain that a person that speaks English uses is not the same part of the brain that we use to speak Nuwabi. It opens up different compartments to the brain. I've even taught an autistic child. I had an ex mate, and her son was autistic. And by the time I got in her life, he was 7 years old. I couldn't understand anything. His name is Malik. I couldn't understand anything Malik said. And I was kind of pissed off because, you know, I love children. So it's like, how are you going to have a child living in America, going to a public school, but they don't speak English? And then not only that, if you was to place that child in an environment where there were, you know, something that happened to him, you can't even understand what the child is actually saying. So, you know, that's when I started to learn a little bit about autism. And so I read a book on it, did a little study, but because I have been raised in the tab, it just hit me. It's a mild case of mental retardation. And one of the first things that you notice in the child is that they stop speaking. So it does affect the speech part of the brain. So what I told her, the same thing I just, you know, said to you, like, you know, take different part of the brain to speak different languages. So since the English part ain't working, I'm gonna just teach him Nuwabi. I took him out of school. I homeschooled him. Now I was a little hard on him because I knew that basically, you know, there's a lot of hyperactivity. So in hyperactivities, the brain waves oscillate too much. I can't teach you anything until you know, be still. So what I would do is I would put the Thought Nubian tapes on. I would first teach him how to meditate and sit still. Once when Malik got to a point to where he can sit still and still himself and calm his energy, that little boy learned Nuwabic in 2 months. He learned it over a summer, and she learned it too because she was my maid at the time. But he learned Nuwabic over a summer, graduated in a regular class, not an autistic class, in high school. And I was just like, man, you know, it was nice, man. I was just proud of him. But yeah, like we really need to.
Let me tell you what autism really is. What autism really is. Autism is you not left-brained, you right-brained.
Okay.
The whole system we in is to only want to focus on your left brain. They don't want you doing anything to enhance the right brain. The right brain is abstract, artistic in its expression. The
creativity,
left, linear, logical mathematics.
Right.
So the autistic child is born right brain dominant. And that's the problem in this society that made them classify him as autistic. They don't learn the same way as left brain people. And that's why the first thing you had to teach him was how to steal the mind.
Right.
All that is self-discipline. You teaching him how to use his self-discipline to control what's going on inside his head.
Yeah, basically.
Once the self-discipline sink in, right? What Brother Love just texted me. He say your live chat with Naya is not on.
I'm watching the live chat. I'm watching it on my phone. That's how I'm in the comment section. Your camera's not on, but you're on.
Okay, so we can go ahead. Anyway, so the way that the educational system is geared, anybody that shows right brain dominance, they either put them into an accelerated learning class or they put them in a special ed class. If the system wants to use them later, they're going to put them in an accelerated learning class.
Right.
If the system think that they're going to be somebody important, they put them in special ed and try to continuously dumb them down.
Yeah, see, I don't like that. See, I grew up in the Tap, so I ain't go to school. But once when I saw how they treat little black boys in school, oh nah, I was like, nah, bro. Like that's like psychological terrorism, man. It's like basically.
It is, and they know basically to it. It's a little European lady named Charlotte Iserby was the director under the No Child Left Behind. She give you the full breakdown. She got videos on YouTube giving you the full breakdown of the miseducational system and how everything she tried to do to fix it, they countered her to keep it worse. They don't want us learning nothing, man. And that's the whole tool of oppression they're using. Right? They're using that to keep us from seeing what they're doing. As long as they can keep their children smarter than our children, they can keep us subjugated. But as soon as we start to show promise, they try to draft our children to do their bid. And we don't know no better, so we comply because we think that they putting them in this Ivy League school for the gifted. They doing something for the child. No, they harnessing. They sheep dipping.
Wow. Well, we got to get on out of here now. This is about to shut us off. I enjoyed you, man. And you teach a lot on your platform?
I teach every day. Every time I get on here, I'm teaching something.
And on your own, you got a YouTube channel for it though, right?
I'm not on YouTube. I'm on Instagram and Facebook. I just started a new Instagram called The Sick Eight.
Okay, well, I got to go check that out because I was about to say I needed to subscribe to your channel.
Yeah.
Do you think Instagram is a good platform to promote Nuwabi? Because I saw that I can go live on YouTube, Instagram as well.
Instagram is better than Facebook. Facebook is, you got a limited reach compared to Instagram. But the real one is TikTok. That's where all of the youth. And you can give it to them in 10-minute bites or less. You often
Well, they won't let me go live on TikTok because for TikTok, you need 1,000 subscribers or 1,000 followers in order to go live. I don't see where I can just hit a record button and record it like I can on Instagram, on TikTok. But yeah,
on TikTok, what you can do, take excerpts. Take excerpts from your lessons you already did and post them on TikTok, and you'll get 1,000 subscribers in no time. That's how you open the channel up.
Okay, so I would have to do that from my computer though, because I don't have it on my phone. Like I go in my files. Let's say
it don't matter how you do it. As long as you know that you could take 10-minute segments, right? Let's say you got an hour class. break it into 6 segments, part 1 through 6.
Okay.
And then you put it on Instagram, and the people that's listening, they gonna start following. That's how you gonna get your numbers up on TikTok.
Gotcha. Okay.
Right? And then you can share your TikTok videos to Instagram and Facebook and
Right,
YouTube.
I'm definitely doing that now. But for some reason I can go live on Instagram. I just got to get 1,000 followers on TikTok. But a brother by the name of Batim, one of the Ansar brothers that I talked to, he pretty much put me onto the TikTok, and it is better, and it's more youth on TikTok.
Mm-hmm. Also, I'm about to open up a TikTok channel, and I haven't done it yet, but I'm trying to wait to see what happened Monday. And with the money coming in, if by November we ain't seen no major changes, then I'm gonna start my TikTok channel up.
Okay. Well, that's about it for the day, brother. I'd love to have you back and speak more about that educational program, and it's some other questions. The Blue Rock Project that brothers and sisters have been asking me to get you on here and talk about.
Okay, so we'll get back in it on another show. We go in deeper.
All right, y'all. Don't forget, again, hit that like and subscribe button. Y'all want to show the brother Rod Hayes some love? I dropped his Cash App inside of the comments. We also trying to put together a Nawabic school. So we're trying to raise some funds for that, for donations. I dropped my Cash App in the comment section. Let's all work together. This is over with. It's been nice. I should.